Tonight, the latest developments demand your full attention. At exactly 11:47 p.m. on this cold February 19th night in 2026, a single blacked-out Range Rover with tinted windows idled outside the sprawling $14.65 million Montecito compound. Inside, Prince Harry paced barefoot along the edge of the infinity pool, knuckles turning white as he gripped a half-empty glass of whiskey. The Pacific Ocean crashed indifferently behind him like a mocking soundtrack. Meghan Markle stood frozen in the doorway of their fortress-like home, arms crossed tight, her face lit only by the cold blue glow of her phone. Sources close to the household say she had just ended a frantic crisis call, voice cracking with the kind of desperation that no amount of curated Instagram smiles can hide. The empire they fled the royals to build is unraveling minute by minute, and tonight the walls of their self-made sanctuary are closing in for good. Even their polished courtside appearance at the NBA All-Star Game just 4 days ago, February 15th, where Meghan flashed a dazzling new $190,000 pear-shaped diamond ring amid Valentine's whispers, now reads as pure theater, a desperate bid to project strength while everything burns. Before we go further into this real-time tragedy, if you're not already subscribed, smash that red button right now and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss a single update as this story collapses hour by hour. And tell me honestly in the comments, do you think Harry and Meghan are victims of the palace's ruthless machine, or have they become architects of their own spectacular downfall? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one. Let's rewind the clock and watch it unfold in real time, because this is no slow decline. It is a minute-by-minute disaster. It began 72 hours earlier, Wednesday, February 16th, 4:12 a.m. A former senior Archewell staffer placed an encrypted call from an undisclosed location, voice low and trembling. They summoned an emergency video meeting, he revealed. The topic, the foundation's catastrophic books. Donations have cratered from $13 million in 2021 to just $2.1 million last fiscal year against $5.1 million in expenses. After the desperate December 2025 rebrand to Archewell Philanthropies, staff was slashed 85%, down to a skeleton crew of exactly 2 people. Insiders confirm Harry and Meghan themselves devote barely 1 hour per week, sometimes as little as 47 minutes, to the very cause they branded as their global legacy. On that pre-dawn call, documents flashed across the screen showing vacant roles, unpaid invoices, and morale in free fall. Harry, joining from another wing of the mansion, stared blankly at the camera, his face gaunt under the monitor light, muttering only, "We need to fix this." But the bleeding has only accelerated. Key aide James Holt walked out at the end of 2025, leaving the entire operation substantially weakened and exposed. By Thursday morning, February 17th, 9:30 a.m., the isolation hit like a physical blow. A neighbor's security camera captured another unanswered invitation sliding under the iron gates for a local charity brunch. Inside the estate, maids whisper of an eerily silent household. Harry's only steady companions now his 2 dogs and a rotating bodyguard whose shifts end in awkward silence. Meghan, the woman who once lit up Toronto film sets and Kensington corridors, is rarely glimpsed beyond the property line. One longtime Montecito resident told our sources flatly, "She is not an asset to this community." The sanctuary they chose after Megxit has become a gilded cage of self-erasure, the Pacific View their only indifferent witness. That same afternoon at 2:05 p.m. London time, 6:05 a.m. in Montecito, fresh leaked excerpts from Russell Meyer's explosive new biography, William and Catherine, the intimate inside story detonated like a scorched earth grenade. Palace logs detail how, before the 2018 wedding, Harry was incredulous, dialing King Charles and Prince William in a fury when told Meghan would not receive automatic full royal protection, despite waves of racist online abuse. He compared it bitterly to the informal guidance and complete security Kate Middleton enjoyed while dating William. The book also exposes Catherine's early ice-cold verdict after the Oprah interview. Harry and Meghan could not be trusted. She extended olive branches that went unanswered. Now any engagement risks betrayal. The royal response? Pure institutional precision. The ice wall stands higher than ever. King Charles offers nothing but calculated silence. William's team moves with ruthless efficiency. No reconciliation, no mercy. Thursday evening, 7:15 p.m. Pacific. Another ghost from the past clawed its way back. Fresh reporting revived the Centibale nightmare. Chair Sophie Chandauka's March 2025 public accusations of bullying and harassment against Harry, framed partly around defending Meghan, still poison the air. Though the Charity Commission cleared widespread claims in August 2025, it slammed the public fallout and perception of ill treatment. Harry resigned in frustration, but sources say he slammed his phone so hard during a strategy call that the screen shattered on the marble counter. The humanitarian image he built in his mother's name now lies in tatters. Let's do the financial autopsy. Cold, brutal, and unforgiving. The Montecito Fortress carries a monthly burn rate of $180,000, over $5,900 a day just to keep the lights on. Break it down. $52,000 mortgage payment, $35,000 private security that never sleeps, $28,000 household staff, many signing ironclad NDAs before quitting, plus $40,000 plus on travel, PR retainers and maintaining the pool, tennis court, chicken coop, and 12 bathrooms. Archewell alone bleeds an additional $8,200 daily. With donations evaporated, they are covering everything out of pocket. Leaked internal reports reveal Harry's personal wealth, closer to $20 million at the time of marriage, shocked Meghan early on. She had expected billionaire-level resources, not this modest inheritance and deal trickle. That revelation planted the first cracks. Netflix's With Love, Meghan Season 2 launched last August to dismal viewership and was not renewed for Season 3. As ever faces trademark fights, production delays into late 2026, inventory glitches, and scathing reviews labeling it a flailing venture. Lost contracts total an estimated $8–10 million over 18 months. Professional separation is now complete. Harry scouts solo African projects while Meghan clings to the lifestyle brand. Late Thursday night, 10:20 p.m., as they reviewed old footage in a desperate bid for content revival, Meghan reportedly recounted their Botswana proposal again, Harry whispering, "I love you," on their third date with elephants outside the tent, her truly terrible roast chicken the night he proposed, due to Celsius Fahrenheit confusion. But sources say the nostalgia landed hollow, drowned out by fresh bank alerts pinging empty accounts. Across the Atlantic, the royal family operates with ice wall precision. No public attacks, just cold erasure. Invitations never arrive. Titles remain but signify nothing. The institution Harry once called a cage has simply moved on, watching the Sussex collapse with detached ruthlessness. Was it worth it? Harry surrendered birthright, family, and country for a dream that delivered isolation, where neighbors never answer and dogs are better company. Meghan traded duty for Hollywood rejection and financial terror. Their choices, media warfare, title demands, endless pivots, now deliver consequences in real time. The children grow up behind these gates, shielded from the very institution that once defined their father and now stands unyielding. Legacy? From global icons to cautionary tale of hubris and illusion. This is the end game. The Montecito reckoning unfolds before our eyes. Smash like if you want the next leak the second it drops. Subscribe for immediate updates and share this with anyone still clinging to the fairy tale. Stay tuned, because in the dark world of royalty and elite survival, the fall is always steeper, always bloodier, and always inevitable. I'll see you in the comments. The final act has begun. Tonight, the latest developments demand your full attention. At this very hour, as the February 19th dusk settles over the Pacific, the gilded walls of Harry and Meghan's Montecito fortress are trembling. Insiders tell me that just hours ago, at exactly 4:47 p.m., another unmarked envelope was delivered by private courier to the wrought iron gates of their $14.65 million estate. Inside, the latest grim update on Archewell philanthropies. The numbers are catastrophic. The dream is hemorrhaging, and the couple at the center of this royal exile is facing the cold, unforgiving reality they tried so desperately to outrun. Before we go further into this unfolding tragedy, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You don't want to miss a single dispatch from inside this high-stakes drama. And tell me in the comments right now, do you believe Harry and Meghan can salvage their empire, or is this the beginning of the end? Drop your thoughts below. We're in this together. Let's rewind the clock and walk through the last 72 hours, minute by minute, as this disaster has accelerated in real time. It started late Tuesday night, February 17th. Sources close to the situation reveal that Prince Harry was seen pacing barefoot along the edge of their infinity pool at 2:13 a.m., phone pressed to his ear, his free hand clenched into a white-knuckled fist. The call? A tense conversation with the remaining Archewell advisor, breaking the news that 2 more junior staffers had quietly submitted their resignations that evening. That's on top of the 3 major cuts announced in December. The once promising foundation, rebranded as Archewell Philanthropies on December 19th in a desperate bid for survival, is now operating with a skeleton crew of barely 2. The global impact they sold to the world has been reduced to desperate fiscal sponsorship deals and mounting questions from watchdogs about transparency and accountability. By Wednesday morning, 9:22 a.m., Meghan was reportedly in the sun-drenched kitchen of their 9-bedroom, 16-bathroom mansion, the one that requires a small army of 12 to 15 full-time staff just to maintain. Frantically reviewing spreadsheets on her laptop, her hands, sources say, were shaking as she calculated the burn rate. Leaked internal reports paint a devastating picture. In 2024 alone, while they distributed a mere $1.25 million in actual grants to causes, the organization bled through $5.1 million in expenses against just $2.1 million in fresh donations. That's a staggering deficit approaching $3 million in a single year, roughly 8,219 on vanishing every single day. The donations had cratered from over $13 million in their peak 2021 glory days. The sanctuary they built in California is becoming their financial prison. Harry joined her shortly after, according to a former staff member who still has eyes inside. He slammed a cabinet door so hard the crystal glasses inside rattled. "This wasn't supposed to happen," he allegedly muttered, his voice cracking under the weight of the life they chose. The man who once had the full machinery of the British monarchy behind him now stares at dwindling bank statements and a lifestyle that's costing them hundreds of thousands annually just to keep the lights on, the gardens manicured, the tennis court pristine, and the private security detail still running them close to $2 to $3 million a year, vigilant against perceived threats. Let's do the math, because the numbers don't lie, and they are damning. The Montecito compound itself, purchased for $14.65 million back in 2020 and now valued around $29 to $30 million, carries operating costs estimated at over $500,000 to $800,000 per year for maintenance, utilities, landscaping, and domestic staff alone. Add the private security fortress they've constructed, because Harry insists on it after years of battles with the press and the palace, and their personal burn rate easily exceeds $100,000 per week. Meanwhile, the Netflix machine that once promised salvation has cooled dramatically. With Love, Meghan delivered its lifestyle fantasy across 2 seasons, but as of this month, insiders confirm there are no plans for a third. The As Ever brand launches have been plagued by trademark delays, product glitches, and mixed reviews. Hollywood agents, their phones have gone eerily silent. The glittering doors of Tinseltown are inching shut on the couple who once believed they could conquer it. Contrast that with the ice wall rising in London. While Harry and Meghan scramble in their sun-soaked isolation, King Charles and Prince William operate with ruthless institutional precision. Palace logs, according to encrypted sources, show zero outreach since the explosive new biography dropped last week, laying bare Harry's pre-marriage security fury and Kate's early conclusion that the Sussexes could not be trusted. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, long ago drew her line after the Oprah interview, viewing any further engagement as a betrayal waiting to happen. The royal family watches from afar, their silence louder than any statement. They know the math better than anyone. Without the Sussex name attached to the firm, Harry and Meghan are just another celebrity couple fighting for relevance in a saturated market. The spare has been erased from the line of succession in every way that matters. The isolation is the cruelest twist. Neighbors in the exclusive Montecito enclave report that invitations to local gatherings go unanswered for weeks. Meghan, once the social architect, is rarely glimpsed beyond the compound gates. Harry's world has narrowed to his children, his dogs, and the occasional security briefing. The community they claim to want to serve sees them as outsiders in their own sanctuary, a fortress that has become a gilded cage. Even the echoes of happier times from Meghan's Netflix show, the Botswana proposal under the stars, the terrible roast chicken the night he popped the question, now feel like taunting reminders of promises unkept. Now we reach the climax of this chapter. Insiders whisper of a looming 72-hour ultimatum. By Friday, February 22nd, Archewell Philanthropies must finalize emergency cash flow adjustments and address mounting compliance pressures or face further public scrutiny that could freeze new donations entirely. One former senior staffer, speaking on condition of anonymity, described an emergency strategy session held yesterday afternoon. Meghan was pushing for aggressive brand tie-ins with as ever to pump money back into the foundation. Harry looked broken, repeating that he just wants to protect his family. The tension in that room was palpable. Voices raised, doors slammed. This is survival mode. A leaked report from a PR consultant who briefly worked with them paints them as increasingly delusional in their demands. High turnover because no one can meet the impossible standards of perfection mixed with paranoia. 11 PR handlers in 5 years, NDAs stacking up like unpaid bills. The toxic environment has Hollywood quietly walking away. Was it worth it? That's the question echoing through the hills of Montecito tonight. Harry traded his birthright, his family, his country for what he believed was freedom and love. Meghan walked away from royal duty believing she could build a bigger empire on her own terms. Now, as the cash flow slows to a trickle and the staff deserts the sinking ship, they sit in one of the most expensive zip codes on Earth, more isolated than ever. The predatory glare of public scrutiny never fades. The erasure of their once unstoppable narrative feels complete. The royals, meanwhile, remain unyielding, cold, methodical. The institution endures because it must. Harry and Meghan, they are learning the hardest lesson of all. You can leave the monarchy, but the consequences follow you across oceans and years. This is the endgame, ladies and gentlemen. The walls are closing in. The tragedy is writing itself in real time. Stay tuned for every shocking update. Hit like if you want more, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next dispatch from the front lines of this royal reckoning. What happens next could change everything. Tonight, the latest developments in the Sussex saga demand your full attention. As the clock ticks past 2:17 a.m. on this freezing February 19th, 2026, Prince Harry is pacing barefoot across the marble floors of his Montecito fortress, knuckles white around a burner phone, while Meghan watches from the shadows of the kitchen island, her face lit only by the glow of a laptop screen displaying fresh leaks. What was once hailed as his proudest legacy, Centabal, the African charity born from his teenage grief, is now bleeding out in real time, torn apart by accusations of bullying, harassment at scale, and a desperate power grab that insiders say was orchestrated to shield Meghan's image. This isn't history. This is happening right now, and the walls are closing in faster than any royal security detail could ever protect. Before we go further into this unfolding tragedy, if you're not already locked in, hit that subscribe button right now and ring the notification bell. We are your eyes inside the royal collapse and the Hollywood exile. No one else is connecting these dots like this. And right now, while the story is still raw, drop your verdict in the comments. Is Harry the victim of a vengeful chairwoman, Or is Meghan's influence turning every good cause into scorched earth? Tell me, do you see a way back for them, or is this the beginning of the end? Your voice matters. Let's hear it. Let's rewind the last 48 hours and watch the disaster minute by minute because the timeline is damning. Yesterday at exactly 9:15 a.m. Pacific, an encrypted email hit the private inboxes of CRUMBLES' remaining board members. Leaked by a former staffer who could no longer stomach the silence, the message contained screenshots of Harry's frantic WhatsApp threads from last March, threads where he allegedly demanded the chair, Sophie Chandoka, issue a public statement defending Meghan against online trolls following a 2024 photo op fallout. When Chandoka refused, citing the charity's neutral stance, sources close to the board say Harry's team unleashed a PR machine attack at scale. Within hours, anonymous briefings painted her as difficult, unstable, even misogynistic in reverse. By 11:47 p.m. that same night in March 2025, Harry's resignation letter was couriered to the London office in an unmarked envelope, his signature still wet. But the story didn't die. It festered. Fast forward to 3:45 a.m. this morning. Harry is seen by a neighbor walking her dog, standing alone by the infinity pool, staring at the Black Pacific, shoulders slumped, the same posture captured in paparazzi shots after the Oprah interview. Insiders tell us he received a new packet at 1:22 a.m. via private courier, fresh donor withdrawal notices totaling $680,000 in pledged funds pulled overnight. One major backer, a polo sponsor who once wrote seven-figure checks, cited irreconcilable governance concerns in a terse email. At 4:12 a.m., Harry's phone lit up with a call from London. The voice on the other end, according to a source who overheard the speakerphone, delivered the line that cracked him. The perception of ill treatment has now become the reality, sir. The Charity Commission may have cleared widespread bullying in August, but the damage is terminal. By 7:30 a.m. today, the Montecito compound was on lockdown. Two black SUVs with tinted windows arrived at the gates, reputedly carrying crisis PR consultants flown in from New York at a cost of $18,500 per day. Inside the glass-walled war room, Meghan is said to have been pacing in Lululemon athleisure, voice low but urgent, reminding Harry that Centibele was always their bridge back to relevance. A former staff member who left in January 2026 describes the atmosphere. She kept saying, "We cannot let them erase us." Her hands were shaking as she scrolled through draft statements that never quite got sent. Let's do the financial autopsy, because the numbers don't lie, and they are screaming. Centibal's latest internal reports, obtained through encrypted channels, show reserves sitting at a precarious $312,000, down from $1.2 million when Harry pumped in $1.5 million of his spare proceeds in 2023. Annual burn rate, $2,850 per day, every single day on consultants, travel, and impact reporting that produced zero measurable change in Lesotho and Botswana. Last year alone, they spent $187,000 on a single luxury retreat for board members in Cape Town, while on-the-ground programs in Africa received just 41% of funds. Harry's personal donations have dried up. His own bank accounts, strained by the $14 million mortgage on the Montecito mansion and Archewell's separate $3.2 million deficit, can no longer paper over the holes. One leaked spreadsheet shows a projected shortfall of $1.1 million by June unless emergency cash is injected. But who writes that check when every major donor has gone radio silent? Now contrast the cold fortress in London with the ghost town of Hollywood. At 10:05 a.m. this morning, Harry's longtime agent at WME received a polite but final email from Netflix development executives. The proposed Centibele documentary series, once valued at $18 million, is on indefinite hold pending resolution of governance issues. Doors that swung open in 2020 are now slammed shut. The same executives who greenlit Spare are reportedly telling colleagues, "We don't touch anything with that level of toxicity." Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the palace operates with ruthless institutional precision. King Charles's private secretary logged 3 attempted calls from Harry's team in the past week, each met with the same scripted silence. No olive branch, no acknowledgement, just the ice wall, erected the moment Harry chose Megxit. William and Catherine, sources say, have been briefed daily and remain utterly unyielding. One palace log entry dated yesterday at 4:50 p.m. London time reads simply, Sussex approach Henri Saint-Hilaire declined. The climax is barreling toward us. At 10:00 a.m. tomorrow, less than 24 hours from now, the remaining Saint-Hilaire board convenes in an emergency Zoom session. Insiders whisper of a 72-hour ultimatum already drafted. Harry must sign a full, irrevocable severance agreement by March 1st or face the public release of every internal email, every voice note, every receipt that paints a picture of harassment, intimidation, and a charity weaponized to protect one woman's narrative. Chandauka herself is said to be preparing a statement from an undisclosed location, her legal team billing $9,200 a day. If the ultimatum lands, Harry's options collapse. Fight and watch the brand die in open court, or walk away and let the erasure become permanent. This is no longer about polo matches and smiling African children on Instagram. This is survival mode. The Montecito mansion, once a sanctuary, now feels like a gilded cage. The dogs bark at every delivery van. Meghan's lifestyle brand meetings are canceled one by one. Harry's polo schedule, once his escape, has been wiped clean. They are alone, exactly as the neighbors described in those quiet Montecito streets. Invitations unanswered, community events ignored, the couple reduced to 2 silhouettes behind bulletproof glass. Was it worth it? Was trading crowns for California's sun worth watching every bridge burn in real time? Was the fairy tale of independence worth the reality of watching your name become synonymous with bullying, financial mismanagement, and desperate damage control? Harry once said he wanted to break the cycle. Tonight, as the Pacific crashes against the cliffs below his pool, that cycle feels tighter than ever, choking the last oxygen from a legacy that was supposed to outlive them both. This is the end game. The charity that was meant to save lives is now fighting for its own. Stay tuned, because tomorrow's 10 a.m. board meeting could be the final chapter. If you want the unfiltered truth, the raw documents, the next leak the moment it drops, you know what to do. Subscribe. Share this with someone who still believes in the fairy tale. And remember, in this world of thrones and spotlights, the fall is never gentle. We'll be right here when it happens.